بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Welcome back to my channel QHE Tajweed Rules of the Quran channel in English. Today, inshallah, we will continue the articulation points. makharij al-huruf al-Arabiya. And we were in the middle of the tongue last time. The time before we talked about the deepest or farthest part of the tongue. Today, inshallah, we will talk about we're still under the articulation point of the tongue, al-lisan. We will talk about the edge of tongue. Today, inshallah, we will go very quickly like we used in this picture. We said we have the root of the tongue here. We have the farthest part of the tongue here. Middle of the tongue, and we finished these two parts last classes. Top of the tongue and tip of the tongue, and all this area we call it edge of the tongue. We call it edge of the tongue. So our lesson for today is حافة اللسان, the edge of the tongue. We call it حافة اللسان. Let's go together and see how many articulation points we have for this part and how many letters come out from it. We have two articulation points for two letters in حافة اللسان, in the edge of the tongue. What these two letters is? We have letter lam and we have letter daad. And these two letters is very important for Arab and non-Arab. Both of them is not easy for Arab and non-Arab. Okay, so we call our language, Arabic language, we call it لغة الضاد, the language of Daad. Why Daad? Because Daad is the hardest letter to sound, right? Okay, it comes from تخرج من إحدى حافتي اللسان أو كلاهما معا مع ما يحاذيهما من الأضراس العليا يمينا أو يسارا. This is which letter? This is letter Daad. So our class today, exactly, it will be about letter Daad. It comes from one edge of the tongue or both together, and what lies opposite of it, of the upper molars, left or right or both. Daad. This is letter what? Letter Daad. Let's see this in a picture to make it easy and clear for you. This is the tongue. This is the tongue. The blue area here, this is the place of letter Daad. And this is the upper palate. This is the teeth and upper palate. The blue area here, this is the place of Daad. So if you look here, this is the molar here in the back. If you imagine this tongue is, we take it and we put it in the top of the palate here. Imagine I take the tongue here and put it in top of here. This is the area of letter Daad. To make it more clear and how we sound letter Daad, we will look here, we will find this is the upper palate. The area here, this is where we push with our tongue. And the yellow area here, this is where we just touch with the tip of the tongue. So we don't use the tip of the tongue and we push with blue. No, we push with the side of the edge of the letter Daad. Some people, to make it easy to themselves, they can just push in one side with their tongue, right or left. And some people push in two sides at the same time. You can try this, you can try this, and choose the easiest one for you. All of them is right in tajweed. No mistakes on it. And all of them, they will sound letter Daad right. So myself, when I sound letter Daad, I use the two sides. I push here and I push there. But let's try, and I will push in one side. Al. So I push now in the right side only. Let's try the left one. Al. Al. This is I push in the left one. Okay? In both of them, Al. So I can do the 3 ways. Yourself find which one is easy for you and follow it. And follow it. So to make it more clear, let me explain something very quickly. I want you to imagine. You need to imagine a lot. So like you take all your tongue up and push one edge of your tongue only here. Or you push in this area. Or both of them at the same time. Okay? There is very important characteristics of Daad, which is al-istitala. We will explain it inshallah in the characteristics of the letters. I'm going to show for you. When letter Daad is sounded at the beginning, you should to push in this area, like we said. So the inside of the molars with the tongue, with the edge of the tongue, and the tongue it's back like that. And by the istitala means the tongue it will slide a little bit in the top of the palate till it reach to what? To this area. So be sure your tongue start from back here. When you start from back here. So I'm start and say, Al. Did you hear? This is how my tongue slide, but it's from the beginning, it's the stop here. Al. 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 Okay? So you should to stop here with your tongue first and then push. Some people them do reach your tongue here. They make heavy dal. So what I give for you as advice from my experience with the student, put your tongue back as much as you can. As much as you can. Here, don't let your tongue pass this area. Don't let your tongue pass this area. So put your tongue back as much as you can. After you put it back, you can push to make the istitala. But number one, before you reach how you make the istitala, it's more important to know where is the articulation point exactly. So stop here, don't push. Out. So put your tongue back as much as you can and push in these 2 areas as much as you can. The tip of the tongue is just touching and it's not in this area at all. It's not in the beginning of Daad in this area at all. It's very back. Inshallah, this is clear for you. When you reach with your tongue for this area, don't let the tongue is open in the end or it will mix with the letter ta sound. It's end with al. Did you hear this? This is wrong. And be sure you don't push in the tip of the tongue only instead of the edge of the tongue here. And you say ad. This is wrong. So this sound I made right now, this is if you push in the tip of the tongue, but your tongue from the back is completely down. So it's give me heavy sound of dal. It's like heavy sound of dal. Ad. This is wrong. If you push the tip on the tongue, if you push in the tip of the tongue, instead of the side of the tongue from the back, but at the same time your tongue is completely up, it will mix with sound o. It will be like out. It's closer to ta. It's not Daad anymore. Okay? So this is the mistakes it happened. Letter Daad, it has a lot of mistakes. Inshallah, maybe we'll make a class especially for the mistakes of letter Daad. But after we talk about the characteristics of letter Daad, inshallah, too. So inshallah, this is clear for you. It's heavy. Letter Daad, it should to be al. Okay? So what I want to tell you total. Be sure your tongue is pushing from here. Be sure your tongue is pushing from here in these squares And when you start the letter Daad, your tongue should to be completely back and it just reach for this area. Okay, and by the slide of the tongue to make the characteristics of Daad, it's turned to be in this area. When it's turned to be in this area, again, don't let the tongue open from you and cause the sound up. This is number one. Number two, be sure your tongue is completely up. So, especially from the back, so be sure it's completely up or you will make a heavy dal instead. Your pushing should to be here, not in the tip of the tongue. And your tongue should to be completely up. Your tongue should to be completely back as much as you can. Our شاهد الجزرية for this letter is أسفل والوسط فجيم الشين يا. This is not my point. والضاد من حافته إذ وليا للضراس من أيسر أو يمناها. This is my point. والضاد من حافته means the ضاد is coming from the two sides of the tongue. للضراس من أيسر أو يمناها. You push in the side of the molars or the left of the molars or both of them. Okay? Inshallah, this is clear for you. By this, our lesson for today is completely done. Jazakumullah khairan to watch my channel QHE Tajweed Rules of the Quran channel in English. Don't forget, subscribe and don't forget to push the bell too so you can get every new lesson. After that, push the like and put a comment and share the video. Follow me so you can see the characteristics of the letter soon, inshallah, too, and you know more about letter Daad to fix your letter and it will be right. Plus, I will make a special class, inshallah, after that for letter Daad and the mistakes I hear on it from Arab and non-Arab people. Jazakumullahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.